Please welcome to the TEDxSF stage, Yasmina Zaidman.
Every woman who gives birth has her birth story. Maybe it's a story of some beautiful tradition fulfilled, or maybe it's a story of some unexpected twist. We've all heard the story of someone who almost gave birth in the car on the way to the hospital. But those moments when children come into the world are unforgettable. For 300,000 women who die each year in pregnancy and childbirth, there is no story they can share. And there are 20 times that number of women, yes, 6 million women every year who suffer from major health issues as a result of not having access to adequate care. Whether it's the 46% of women who have no access to skilled attendants in sub-Saharan Africa, or an even higher number of women in India who give birth without any skilled support. Those women's stories may be stories of fear, of isolation. They're stories about not having any options. I work with Acumen Fund, and our work is to try to create new options by supporting entrepreneurs who want to give people choices across a whole range of goods and services, with healthcare being our largest portfolio. We've invested in over 70 companies that are entrepreneurs providing goods and services to now over 100 million people. And at Acumen, we invest in entrepreneurs focusing on problems of poverty for two reasons. First, because entrepreneurs have to listen to the people that they want to serve. And we think that in that listening, there's a new possibility around dignity and seeing people fully, not just as statistics. And second, because an entrepreneur can only survive through innovation. And the complex health issues we're looking at today require radical innovation. We invested in a company in 2007 called LifeSpring Hospitals. They provide affordable, safe maternal care to low-income women living in and around Hyderabad. I was so proud when we started to work with them because I felt this was an issue that really mattered. But I didn't understand until I gave birth that this isn't just about maternal health, that this is really about empowering women and recognizing the importance of this moment in women's lives, that when they give birth, to have agency, to have voice, really matters. They send healthcare workers out into the slums to reach out to women and their families. And they met one woman named Padmaja, who grew up in Hyderabad, was married off at the age of 17, and had 7 children at home. But for her 8th pregnancy, she wanted to have a hospital birth. Unfortunately, her husband's family didn't see the point, and they rolled the dice again, making Padmaja just one more of the millions and millions of women who have no say in how they give birth. LifeSpring wants to change this, not just in making the service available, but in how they deal with every customer who walks in the door. They've changed their decor, their outreach processes based on direct feedback from customers. They listen to women, perhaps for the first time in their lives, about what they want. And by doing this, they're building trust with many who are skeptical of public and institutional health systems. They've served over 200,000 women and delivered 17,000 babies. They've started to change the conversation around childbirth for those women who are involved. And they're also relentlessly innovating about what it takes to deliver the service at a high quality and a low cost. Because that's what it'll take. We're just learning that the most significant health issues we may face in the future are not just infectious diseases, but also non-communicable diseases like diabetes, like heart disease, or cervical cancer, or yes, maternal morbidity, where we truly need to partner with people in order to provide the solutions they need around diagnostics and screening and patient education and long-term treatment. That coming up with the right technology will not be enough. So we see entrepreneurs as a critical piece of figuring out what it will take to build trust with customers through listening, through market-based approaches. It's not enough, but entrepreneurs can be so good at uncovering insights about why people make the choices they do, why they'll come back, why they'll choose a new product or service for the first time. It's not easy, and a lot of these companies may fail. I've seen some fail. But the ones who succeed are doing things that I think we can all learn from. First, they simplify. They strip away and provide basic services, allowing them to create great efficiencies, whether it's LifeSpring focusing just on childbirth, or Arvind Eye Hospitals in Madurai focusing on eye care. And those efficiencies lower costs for low-income consumers. Second, they cross-subsidize, serving both high-income and low-income customers, so the higher margins on wealthier customers offset the costs for the lower-income customers. And finally, they listen. They truly commit themselves to iterating their business models based on feedback from customers, which allows them to innovate in smart ways, which allows them to reach more customers, but also changes the nature of the transaction for someone who is being listened to perhaps for the first time. I dream of a world where every woman can be proud of her birth story, not because it went this way or that way, but because she was an agent in how it happened, and her voice mattered. When I gave birth to my children, and I felt that my preferences, my choices mattered, that I could express them, and I'm not someone who's been marginalized, but I can tell you it changed me forever and showed me things about myself that I never knew. And since then, I've been asking myself what it would mean for young women around the world to hear from a caregiver for the first time that their bodies, their lives, their voices truly matter. I don't think it'll happen overnight, but what I know is that when a doctor at LifeSpring Hospitals looks a pregnant woman in the eye and asks her questions, not her husband, not her mother-in-law, that it begins a small change that could ripple out and change everything about her life and how she sees herself, and how she cares for her children, and how we all see our work in the world. Thank you.